In a world filled with conflict, in a universe comprised of differences, there's one thing that absolutely everything shares in common. We all exist. Including two guys named Jack and Michael, who like to chat about that very thing over a good cup of coffee. Let's pay them a visit, shall we?
Existence Brewing.
Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree, you give me gas, oh, Christmas tree. Oh, hey, Jack.
Gas, what is so Little Debbie Christmas tree?
That was a song that my dad would always sing when we were kids. He would like inject his own lyrics into various songs, and that was one of them.
I see. Wow.
It was kind of like a tamed down version of a Dirty Limerick.
Dirty Limerick sounds like an Irish rapper.
Yeah, that would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Hey, y'all, I'm Dirty Limerick. Check me out as I play that funky place where Anya used to be, but now I kicked her ass off the block. So
yeah, right.
My father... Yes, it's our song. They're playing our song.
I couldn't help.
We got to make that available for download.
We should, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's just download it. You can listen to it in the car. It's beautiful. I was thinking, you talked about your dad. I'm sure your relationship with your father was lengthier and more enriching than mine was. I didn't really know my dad too well. He wasn't super interested in having children, but he had 3. You know how that happens. He had other things to do, this genius inventor type that he was. But in the few moments that I do recall him spending with me as a kid, he always had one rhyme in particular when he would decide to come and rile us out of bed in the morning. And I've heard variations of it in movies and from other people before, but his was different. I'd never heard this one before. He would come and sit down, on a Saturday morning, and I'm in my Bert and Ernie PJs, and he's just like, it's time to get up now. And so he'd get out the little, like his hand, he'd fashion it like the bill of a bird, tucking his thumb in so it makes a little mouth. And he'd say, "A beautiful bird with a yellow bill hopped upon my windowsill. He cocked his feathery neck and said, 'Get out of bed, you sleepyhead.'" And then he'd tickle. And then I'm so ticklish. And so I'd go berserk. But I've heard different variations of the beautiful bird and then the windowsill thing. It's different. Everybody tells it different. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, what yellow bird tribe are you? You can ask this when you go to the coffee shop or to the next powwow you might attend. I go to several a year thanks to my girlfriend being Native American, so I can just ask, like, what beautiful bird hops upon your windowsill? They're just like, throw him out. The white man is crazy. Get rid of him. So
right.
But I've heard different versions of it. So.
My dad used to sing a similar song, and he would come in, or he wouldn't even come into our room. He just had one of those really booming voices, and he would be like, "It's time to get up. It's time to get up. The birds are all singing their good morning greetings." And then he'd be like, "Tweet, tweet, tweet, goes the little bird." I have no idea where he got these songs, but he just, I don't know, maybe he just thought of them. But yeah, he would always do his little songs.
Are you old enough to remember when you could call to get the time?
Yes.
So that woman, I was just thinking of this the other day because I was listening to, I've been going through my vinyl. I'm finally on my vinyl and I'm digitizing it. And all of my vinyl, like, all of it is from the 80s. Like, it's all undiscovered bands from the late 70s and 80s, like all of it. And so there was some track from some band no one's ever heard of. And they used that old thing where you called to get the time. And I want to say that the song was actually called 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it was like an intro piece. So it wasn't an actual song. But then I actually got to thinking, it's weird this should come up as it always does because of the serendipity of our show, because I think of these things and then suddenly we start talking about them on the air. One of us starts. It's like, oh, yeah, I was just thinking about that. But I was wondering, how'd you like to be that woman's children?
Right.
Because if anybody's old enough to remember that never called, it would be like, good afternoon. The time is 2:12.
You've waited too long to dial. Please check the number and dial again, or call your operator to help you.
And all my friends who'd stayed over would freak, and they'd leave the house before they had their Fruity Pebbles. But me, I was my mom. I was used to her. So, yeah.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because the lady who did that, I'm sorry, you have waited too long to dial. Please check the number and dial again, or call your operator to help you. Now,
she got more hate. People hated her.
Well, I'm sure, but like, talk about a voice before the advent of like going viral. She was like the original viral. She was probably one of the most heard voices in North America.
You haven't waited too long. Something happened and you got distracted, or you hit the wrong button, or something happened on the old rotary phone, but you didn't wait too long to dial. She just said you had, then you had to start your call all over again. So you're screaming at her. No, I haven't. I haven't waited too long to dial. But yeah, she is in there too. And now I'm, of course, picturing her in some kind of an intimate setting, like with, how'd you like to be her husband? Like,
yeah, right.
I'm sorry, you've waited too long to get me hot. Please check my numbers and dial again. Try later, honey. We're done.
Great.
This isn't happening right now. So,
if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try it again. If you need help, hang up and then dial the operator.
But it's interesting they chose a lady, for one thing, because I never heard, in all my time growing up with rotary and push-button phones, I never once heard a man give me the, if you'd like to make a call, please. No, that was reserved. It was always a woman, because.
But yeah, that's the lady. The if you'd like to make a call, please check the number and dial again, or call your operator to help you.
Meeting her in a bar. I mean, some of the, it's just like, and I know this is it sounds terribly misogynist of me, but we're just playing here. It's just role playing. I mean, she meets somebody in a bar and the guy takes her home. And it's all consensual, so there's no concerns about it. She wants to be there. But then he has this one demand, like, okay, while we're doing it, I just want you to say just the telephone lines. Just, if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try your number again. Or you have waited too long to dial. Just all I want you to do is be the telephone woman. Can you imagine, like, how often she got solicited to do that?
Oh, 100%.
The number you have reached, 752-0000, has been changed.
Oh, there you go.
The new number is.
Yeah, that one.
That's her. That's her.
That is her. Jane Barbie.
It. Jane Barbie. Okay, very good. Is she dead?
Yes, she died in 2003, and it supposedly the ubiquity of her recordings made her a pop culture figure, and her death drew national attention.
Although I had no clue, and it's been 21 years. But okay.
But that would have been back in the day of probably Tom Brokaw. Well, maybe I'll have to do a little research on that.
I know. So I was also thinking, it's a dropping. It's a little piece that I wrote about fingers and having fingers some time ago. So it's called Idle Hands, and I've got it right here. And it's a piece that I wrote about fingers, about having fingers and what they do. And it was just sort of an early exercise, me getting back into writing some years ago. But the opening line, I thought, made a great dropping, because you've been enjoying these droppings lately. I have a full-on download today we can do, but there's a dropping here too. So This is to start things out here. Here you go. So they say that idle hands do the devil's work. But if that's the case, then why is masturbation a sin? So there you have
it. See, in like most of these, I always ask you, okay, run that by me one more time, because you always get my attention there at the end, and then I'm like, okay, what was the beginning of that? So, okay, one more time, please, for the audience.
Yet another hypocrisy of Western theology. The Bible, says the old saying. Okay, so per my writing, they say that idle hands do the devil's work. If that's the case, then why is masturbation a sin? And that's a great argument that you could make with like your pastor or rabbi if you're in one of these, theological bents where it's considered sinful to pleasure yourself. American Idol Hands, the new reality show.
That's right.
Where people sit and do nothing, and that's probably 9/10 of the world these days. Anyway, so I was thinking of that not that I was thinking of that because of particular persuasions that are related to the line itself. I was just, it's not, so I was jerking off earlier today and thought I'd run this line by you, Michael. But no, I was just, for whatever reason, it popped into my mind. And then it goes on from there. So I'm going to leave this open because I haven't written anything for months, and I've been wanting to finish this story. I feel terrible because I feel like all of the spiritual people that have always tried to school me and said, stay away from women and just do creative stuff, they're mad at me right now because I haven't done a lot of creative ventures the last 2 years. I've been so focused on my relationship, but I think I'm pretty cemented, into it now, and it's not like I haven't written anything on it in the last 2 years since that happened, but it's been few and far between. And our 2-year anniversary is coming up in early January, and I'd really like to finish it by then. The story is that my fictitious Uncle Conrad is what I called him. My uncle has this laminated list that he carries with him in his wallet of the 3 things you should always ask for if you find a genie in a bottle or a lamp.
No, I don't think you've ever told me this story. Yeah,
so that's the idea for the story. And I don't remember. I think I actually was watching an old show with the X-Files, and it was about a djinn. And I think I hatched the idea from that. I started this story. It was going to be something completely different, and then it went down this track. I was like, oh, okay, we'll use this. But I got halfway into this story and then was like, I don't know what these 3 things are going to be. You better think about that, Jack. What are the 3 things you're supposed to wish for going to be? So I came up with them. And so I'm worried this is going to be too deep a concept. But then I also remember, but look who's on the back end of this. It's like, it's you. So I don't think this is too deep. But anyway, I got to finish this because I'm like right down the home stretch of the story. I literally have done 90% of it. If I just do the last 10%, it's done. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It'll just sit there like all the other stuff I've written for now. But anyway, it'll be done. It'll be out into the world.
So do you want to give us a teaser on how this goes, or is that all you've developed so far?
All I've developed so far. I guess the story's 90% done, like I said.
Yeah,
I'm a little boy.
Give us a teaser. Give us a teaser.
What?
So I have an idea. Why don't we act out the plot of this as though it was a movie trailer? So we can help with the dramatic effect a little bit for the audience. And we don't script this podcast.
I should probably play the characters because I know the story.
Okay, let's do that. So what are we going to call this trailer?
It doesn't have a name yet because, like I said, it was supposed to be something completely different.
Let's call it The List.
Okay, The List.
Okay,
good.
So here we go.
LYST.
Yeah, The List. Okay.
Because it's spelled cool. Yeah, like an 80s rock band.
Coming to theaters this holiday season.
Where's the list? I gotta have the list. Oh my God, the list.
He just wants to see the list, but Uncle Buck will not give him the list.
Ah, kid, I told you, I'm not showing you the list. Now bug off. Where's some more of that marshmallow salad your mom made?
But as the holidays continue, there's more than a surprise up his sleeve.
I guess I'll have to stay the night. Oh no. Jack, your uncle's staying the night with us.
But little do they know. Oh, man.
Well, see, it's sort of a one-person story, though, because I know I was maundering. I was taking too long to get to the point. What a surprise. So there's an ice storm. He comes over for dinner one weekend, is ready to leave, and there's an ice storm, and it forces him to stay. There's just the roads are too treacherous. He has to stay. So he sleeps on the fold out in the basement in kind of like the quasi guest room. Mm-hmm. And then I'm lying there and can't go to sleep and can't figure out why. And then it's like, because the list is in the house and it could be accessible if you just find the wallet. And so it's really largely about my little overnight quest in the dark of the house with the ice storm outside, trying to track down my uncle's wallet to get this list, but it proves to be almost as tedious as getting Nicolas Cage to give a good performance in one of the National Treasure movies. So, not that I don't love Nick Coppola. He's great, but he should have stayed with Nick Coppola. He was worried about being a Nepo baby on screen. So it's like, just stay with Nick Coppola. He was credited as Nick Coppola in one film. It was Fast Times. And he didn't have a damn line in it at all. He just was staring like Nick Cage does from the fucking kitchen. And then he changes it because all the people on the set razz him about being Francis Ford Coppola's nephew. And it's just like, just stick with Nick Coppola. Just be the Nepo baby you are. No one cares. It's Hollywood. Everybody's a Nepo baby, right? So nobody is from scratch anymore, not by the 70s or the 80s. So anyway, that's what the story is basically about. And I'm right at the pinnacle, the zenith of the story where he finds the list. But I've got to finish it. So I'm hoping that today's podcast provides enough inspiration for me to want to do that.
All right, let's finish the list. You need to finish the list.
Okay, and that is the name of it, the list, L-Y-S-T, right?
Well, that was the name of our fictitious movie trailer. But yeah, no.
I like it. I like it.
The List. In theaters this holiday season, starring Nicolas Cage. Okay, so where is this list?
I can't ever shake. All I can think of is I'll be taking this list and whatever cash you got in the wallet there. I mean, to me, he's just the role that broke him out, which is Raising Arizona. That's to me, I always just go there first. But
Nick Cage.
He's actually done incredible actor at times. I mean, there are times when he's just brilliant, and then at others you just say, how in the hell did this man ever make anything past a porno? It's terrible. Like he couldn't be the pizza delivery guy who doesn't get any in a porno.
Well, I got to tell you, Mr. Lipton, it's a very crazy process. You have to get extremely high before you can develop the next Nick Cage character.
So if I'm playing James Lipton, then it's definitely my turn. Well, that's brilliant sauce. Let me ask you this, Nicholas. What's your favorite word?
Ganja?
Mahjong. Oh, Lord. We slipped down a rabbit hole and a half there. Well, anyway, people come and go, and some of them we know and some of them we just see on TV, but isn't it all interesting? So I want to do this download, and there's maybe a little direction we could go on the top of it. I'll get your thoughts on it too. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to make sure and mention this. The day we are recording this, it is Giving Tuesday.
Oh, yes.
And I did my radio show this morning, and as usual, did the quiz segment. And for that, I always go through all these things that are on the calendar, of course, I call it what today is. And so I looked, and today is Giving Tuesday. And quite honestly, I'd never noted that before. But it's pretty self-explanatory. Giving Tuesday is a day when you're supposed to give back, writing a check to your favorite charity or making a donation of food to the food bank or whatever. But I find it not only ironic, but also moronic as well that this day falls after both Black Friday and Cyber Monday, two of the most vulgar capitalist pushes there ever were, to say the least. Black Friday, a day that a guy died attempting to get a flat screen television at a busted rate. I won't go into that. We've already talked about it on the podcast before. But do you think maybe we could move the giving to before we're all out of fucking money to give because we've spent it all just doing what we do in the US of A? I'd like to just put in for that. Could we get a little petition started to move Giving Tuesday to Giving Thanksgiving? How about that? Or just like Giving Wednesday or Giving the Monday before Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I mean, I'm offended by these gigantic capitalist pushes that they do anyway, these mind fucks. And no, it does not mean that I do not, because I shop online constantly. So it does not mean that I did not even this year personally enjoy a discount on something. I don't recall buying anything on Friday, but maybe yesterday I did. I don't think I did this year, but it's not like I won't. But it's not because of that. I'm not led around by, oh my God, the Black Friday's coming. I have to go get bargains. I must shop, because that's what it becomes. If you're actually sitting on something that you've been wanting, well, I guess that's one thing. But to these people that just go out and just like, everything's on sale that I don't need and don't want, I'm just going to go buy it all. Well, now you're out of money by the time Giving Tuesday comes around. So this could be some elaborate plot to try and make sure that charities aren't given nearly as much as businesses in this country.
Yeah, there you go.
Because they're putting Black Friday several days ahead of the charitable day, and Cyber Monday just the last day to turn you upside down and shake any fucking nickels that might be left in your pockets out before. Now let's have Giving Tuesday. What do you got? Anything left? No. So,
oh, that's great.
Just wanted to say that.
That's the way Jack Hansen's mind works, ladies and gentlemen. And I would say that, like, yeah, you're right. Maybe that's like the whole point of them positioning the Giving Tuesday right after Cyber Monday, is they're trying to maybe have a little bit of a dig to that mentality.
You know what? I'm not going to say that, because I have been doing this whole, like, what today is calendar thing on the radio for years now in one capacity or another. And so it's scary when you actually know that National Pickled Asparagus Day is right around the corner, because I fucking do. Because I do it every year. I see all of those because I've been doing it for so long.
What are your thoughts on that whole idea?
I don't think that Giving Tuesday necessarily is placed. It might be some conspiracy to shit on the idea of philanthropy in the shadow of capitalism, and that would make sense, I suppose. Obviously, Black Friday is heavily positioned, and so is Cyber Monday right on its heels. But the fact that, like, and I don't remember the date, so again, it's not maybe as bad as I made it out to be, but like National Cherry Pie Day, for example, or National Apple Pie Day. When would you think National Apple Pie Day would be? Now, come on.
National Apple Pie. Now, cherry pie, I would say maybe around 4th of July, but National Apple Pie, I would say, yeah, maybe 4th of July.
Exactly, because there's nothing that screams
baseball and apple pie.
Americana and baseball and apple pie. Yeah. Doodle dandy out every friggin' orifice, right, the whole thing.
Okay.
No, National Apple Pie Day is May 13th.
Huh.
May 13th. I mean, like, harvest season even doesn't. National Cherry Pie Day, by the way, is February 20th. So
now then there's National Pie Day. There's National Pie Day, which is March 14th.
And that's the PI math pie.
Yeah. But they call it National Pie Day.
There is no sense. All of these days, I'm imagining, like the national or the international, it would have to be the national in the case of, so the National Cherry Pie Board of Governors, and trust me, there's one of those for everything. Like, literally pick an innocuous object that exists in our world, and there is a commission that has been formed for its propagation. I mean, absolutely. You're like, well, come on, Jack. Now, how far does this go? You're trying to tell me that there's pasties? Yes, absolutely. I guarantee you there's a national commission of pasties and paper clips. Some of them are merged together conveniently. Some of them are completely incongruous. But yes, there's a commission for everything. And they lobbied to Congress to get their own day noted on the calendar. And so I almost feel like they're taking whatever position was given to them, because
it's called an unofficial observance.
So I'd like to yield to the senator from Delaware who is offering National Cherry Pie Day on February 20th. Do you concur, sir, from the Commission of Cherry Pie? Yes, we concur. We do need to get Janie Lane's opinion on it quickly, though. Could we do that? Wait, he's dead? Okay, no, we're good with the 20th. February 20th is good. Janie Lane, by the way, was the lead singer of Warrant, who did the song Cherry Pie.
Yes, okay.
There's the joke.
Good reference there. So the category of unofficial observances includes April Fool's Day, family member holidays, which are, National Grandmother Day or Grandparent Day, that kind of stuff. Humanist observances, days celebrating love, observances about science. There's also a few youth days that are listed in there as well. Of course, you have I almost feel like we should have like a some kind of like hoity-toity music playing in the background, but we don't want to deal with the algorithms. I'll just let you guys imagine that. Of course, you have the.
I'm pretty sure it's National Hoity-Toity Music Day, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be a hell of a fit.
Okay, so like let's say you also have the cannabis references and the cannabis culture, which is of course 420. You have the Black Friday, which of course is the shopping holiday. You also have Black Friday, known as the partying holiday. Now, I don't remember when the partying holiday is, but it says that there's a Mad Friday, Frantic Friday, and then there's a Black Eye Friday, which is the nickname for the Friday before Christmas Eve. Yeah. My calendar didn't give me that one, but I would say my calendar at work does recognize Festivus, and Festivus is December 23rd.
Yeah, I know Festivus. So, for a radio show host like myself, the fact that every day is demarked with some official or unofficial what is great, because it's great fodder for my audience, and and I have to make up this trivia question every day, so it helps with that. But like they start to stack on top of you after a while these days, and so the days don't make any sense, a lot of them, where they are at all. Like things that are completely synonymous with summer are in the dead of winter, and vice versa.
Right.
Like I don't have my phone open anymore, but like, I'm sure National Ice Cream Day, for example, is in like fucking January. And of course, when does everybody really eat ice cream? But I will say this. Now, in some cases, perhaps there is a note of irony, because I remember working at a place briefly that sold ice cream when I was an adolescent. And coming through the door, I worked in the fall and the wintertime there. And I said, we're not going to sell any ice cream, that's for sure. I mean, it all happens in the spring and summer. And they said, actually, no, we sell more ice cream in the winter than we do in the summer. So,
and I need to back you up there, Jack. I need to back you up there. It's actually Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. It is officially celebrated on the first Saturday of February.
Ice cream for breakfast, sure, because nothing screams a bowl of ice cream at 6:45 in the morning like waking up to frost on the window panes and 13 degrees outside. It's like, yeah, I want ice cream. Absolutely. What the hell? I mean, to me, it's more like National Baseball Day, for example, be in January. It's just like, okay, fine.
Right.
Hot stove, yes, but it's not even the season right now. Why would you celebrate something on? So some of these days just don't make any sense. Anyway, going back to Giving Tuesday, it's Giving Tuesday today. I gave at the office, thank God, so I'm off the hook. But, I also feel like a lot of people, they don't have anything left to give after spending all of this money on food for Thanksgiving, which was less than a week ago. Black Friday the day after with all the sales at all the stores, which was 4 days ago, and Cyber Monday, which was fucking yesterday. So great time to have Giving Tuesday, huh? I mean, unless you're really planning on it, you're not going to have anything left, like I said. So I hate where giving, just get rid of it. To me, it's a token that's more of a black eye. It's more of a bumpy bar stool for the philanthropic enterprises of our world. It's just, here, you can have Tuesday after everybody's already done spending their loot. We don't even want it. Fuck you. We'll just, count on people to do the right thing year round and not have to worry about this nonsense day. But anyway.
There's also an Honesty Day. It is the holiday in the United States falling on April 30th. It aims to encourage honesty and straightforward communication in politics.
By the way, April 30th, National Honesty Day, is a holiday for all lawyers, banks, and political offices. So
that's why they have to close their offices, right?
Isn't that convenient, right? Yeah, you got it, exactly.
Oh, National Honesty Day.
I call up and Jane Barbie, or whatever her name is, gets on the phone. I'm sorry, we are closed for National Honesty Day.
I love it.
It's reminding me of a great scene from the Simpsons episode that they banned for several years because it featured the Twin Towers, and of course we wouldn't want to ruffle anybody's feathers by showing a cartoon depiction of the World Trade Center,
of course,
for
not.
5 years after the things went down, in New York. But anyway, Homer he gets a parking ticket and he gets a boot put on his car next to the World Trade Center in New York, and he calls the phone number on the ticket. And the phone line picks up and says, to make an appeal, to appeal your ticket, press 1. He pushes the ticket. Thank you. Your claim has been rejected. It's just like, yeah, that's the due process for parking tickets in New York.
And we missed the National Buy Nothing Day. It is a day of protest against consumerism in North America. The United Kingdom, Finland, and Sweden. Buy Nothing Day is held the day after the U.S. Thanksgiving, concurrent with Black Friday. Oh, so I guess maybe our calendars don't acknowledge the Buy Nothing holiday either.
Well, that's kind of a buzzkill for most. I mean, it's hard to imagine the big 5-page color circular for Macy's big Buy Nothing Day sale now, isn't it? So. Yeah. So here's what I wrote down. Here's what the universe told me. The big U gave me this to give all of you. If the world around you is not happy, isn't joyous, isn't healthy, isn't at peace, then you simply cannot be either, i.e. the people, the planet, etc. Certainly, you might be able to veil yourself in the illusion that you're okay, but it absolutely isn't true. And then this was supposed to be an exercise of some sort because down below it I've written, so let's talk about ways that we can put the world around you in a better place so that you can also legitimately feel content. Because I think we all have a tendency to do that. We will tell people in passing, hey, I'm good, or, yeah, I'm happy, I'm joyous, I'm full of everything's great. But if you're not, as I mentioned, happy, joyous, healthy, and at peace, then the space that occupies you, that you fill in the world energetically, simply isn't okay. And that's going to be detectable, and they'll know when you're down. And sometimes we wear our emotions on our sleeve, I suppose, if we're really pissed, or if something made us sad, or if Granny died, or if the cat fell off a 6-story window and didn't land on its feet, stuff like that. We wear it. But I'm not talking about specific things that would come along and derail us emotionally for a while. I'm talking about a consistent pattern of not being what we call okay, and carrying that over and realizing that it isn't just about the chemical state of your brain. It isn't just about some physical disposition. It's about the energy that you literally are putting out into this space and that fills the bubble around you, because all of us have an energy bubble around us. I'm not sure if the theory about some people having bigger energy than others is true. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like most energies are relevant or are relative in size.
Yeah.
But some people really project theirs a lot more than other people do. That just don't, they're diffident, or they don't have a lot to say. And yet the energetic space that they fill is capable of being as pronounced as the person who's very bumptious or loud and, calling attention to themselves. Yeah. So anyway, when you're in a state of, ruin is a strong word, but when you're perturbed, when your energy is disturbed, that's going to radiate outward, and you need to fix that, because it's going to be, for as shitty and big of a mess as we've put the planet and all of its creatures in, and therefore our space in the solar system, and you could say the energy's all disturbed. The energy, not to go against the teachings of the Koyaanisqatsi and what's happening to the planet, but that energy is always right to a particular hard degree. It's going to be okay, because we can be, as George Carlin once said, shaken off the earth like a bad case of fleas. And then everything else is going to heal and go about its business. So there is a constant main line that all things that exist, in my opinion, depend on for that stability. And it's there with us as well. But when we tweak the floss, when we twang the line too many times, it makes vibrations that make us rocky, and therefore it makes our space around us do the same thing. And we don't want that. We want to be in harmony with that solid state that is part of existence at all time. And so looking for ways just to, I don't know, fix yourself. And I know it's hard for people that are dealing with acute anxiety, which I have in the past and still to a degree do every day because, I mean, look where I live, or who deal with acute depression or things like that. It's hard. But I think if we focus on maybe that in abstract as being what it is we're trying to remedy, maybe it would help us.
No, agreed. That's great.
Because it's easy. We get into a rut, right? They say it's a rut. And I don't know how we get there. Sometimes we just get there. But that's the rut, is that energy that is no longer, sparkly and pretty and effervescing, and because you don't exude those good vibrations. You're somehow you've arrived at a lower vibration, and it's not jiving with the space that's around you. It's kind of like square peg round hole stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the third dimension, the space that we occupy, is supposed to be vibrating at a particular pace. And if you're not keeping up with it, if you're at a lower vibration, well, then you've slipped into the nether regions where those other things that live at lower vibrations do. And they're not evil. They're not bad. We don't go down that road.
But they can be harmful.
There.
Yeah.
They can be harmful. They can be regressive is what they can be. That's the word I like to use. They can be regressive to the state that you're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Make a lot of metaphors out of this. They're coming to me left and right. It's kind of like using 1030 weight motor oil in a Suzuki motorcycle. It's too heavy. You know, I mean, so for whatever reason, you're not running properly, and you've got to figure out why that is. And so maybe just even that, as I said, abstract as a construct, as a metaphorical response to feeling like I'm in the doldrums or I'm woebegone, or will help you find ways to figure out and raise that energetic signature so that you can kind of get back with the flow of everything again. Because that's when we're at our best, is when we're harmonious with the vibrations that have been presented to us naturally around us.
And not only for other people. I feel like sometimes we have a tendency to say, oh, I'm doing fine. And you're saying that for somebody else's benefit, right? And so I have a feeling too that like this is very similar to one of the things that I've been trying to do when things maybe I feel like they're getting chaotic, whether it be right before a holiday or before I know that I've got a lot of work to do at work, or something that I just know I'm not going to enjoy very much. I always kind of just think to myself like, okay, where's the tiger? Why am I acting?
Where's the tiger?
Yeah, where's the tiger? Like,
where's Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, where's Charlie Sheen? Like, where's the tiger? and so it's like, why am I acting, or why am I feeling like there's a tiger about ready to pounce on me in this room right now when there isn't a tiger?
Yeah. No, that's great. I like that. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. We're waiting. We're already sabotaging ourselves, I suppose, because we've created the tiger that is in the space. Or it's like a child creating the monster that's under the bed.
Yeah.
And therefore is in a state of unrest constantly because they've decided that there's something that's going to get them under the bed. Now, in rare instances, there's somebody under the fucking bed, and you better look quick because they're going to get you as soon as the lights are out.
If there is a tiger under your bed, you better freaking move.
But it's very, only in Sumatra, right? But it's very rare. I mean, you know what I mean? We've all been in that space before where we work ourselves up into sometimes a real frenzy, I guess, sometimes into a real histrionic state because we've decided that that's the way that our energy around us is going to be. But I think just in the realization of that alone, because that's typically what the reason why all things that we could label as bad tend to happen to people is because they feel like they're out of control. And that's so much of what people want is they want control. I just, you yearn for control over this. And the thing is that you have it in so many of the ways that you feel like you have no control. You absolutely are at the helm of guiding this ship wherever you want to go. Certainly your own personal energy, this gift that's been given to you, this amazing miracle from wherever it comes from. Again, don't argue that point too long. Just accept that it's a thing and that it's a miracle and it's beautiful. And you've been given dominion over it to a large degree. You can make those determinations. Now, can you prevent the 9, when I go to the Pacific Coast, for example, and have a great time vacationing, like my girlfriend and I just went not too long ago. And it just, after I get back, it's all I think about for months and months because it's so enjoyable. But the whole time I'm there, I'm thinking about Cascadia subduction zone right offshore, 9.2 megathrust earthquake waiting to happen, along with subsequent tsunami that will devour the town that I'm in and me along with it potentially. And it's not me dying that's the big thing. It's just it's going to be so scary to go through. I'm actually afraid of the fear that the whole event is going to cause. I'm really not afraid of succumbing physically to this experience because I've given over to that. I'm already done. It's just a matter of when, not if. Mm-hmm. You're afraid of the fear. So, the whole time that I'm okay and everything's great, I'm putting that out there. Now, can I personally be Yoda? Can I personally use the Force, for example, and stop that megathrust earthquake from happening? I'm so small energetically compared to this enormous tectonic plate that sits right offshore and causes these massive events that level cities. And maybe not. Maybe I personally am not able to impact the energy of that fault enough to prevent a mega disaster.
Right.
But I'm a firm believer that all of us, or enough of us, in combination of the right vibration, can. Art Bell used to do this on his show. He did this once, at least I know, where everybody in the audience was supposed to focus on essentially what the Beach Boys would call a good vibration.
I remember that.
And they have that tool in space that literally scientifically measures the current state of energy that's magnetizing from the planet's inhabitants, from its physical, biological inhabitants, largely humans, along with the animals. And they've done studies, of course, and looked at this data. And like the aforementioned, we mentioned it a while back, like the World Trade Center, after that happened, way down. The vibrations of the planet are hugely low, especially in North America where this occurred. And then we looked at other times when we've had the few uplifting things, I guess we could say that we've had, and it's been at higher levels or just at random times throughout the years, just for whatever reason. Hey, maybe it was apple pie day or cherry pie day. The vibrations were high today. And you can look at that every day, even hour by hour, minute by minute, and see it change. And he put his audience to the test to say, let's see if this works. Let's, the Art Bell listening crowd, the listeners of Coast to Coast AM, let's see if this works. And as far as I remember, it did. They actually had some form of telemetry that told them that, yes, there was a small, tiny spike of positive vibration that came magnifying off the planet. So I do believe that we individually and certainly collectively, we do shape this experience, and we can literally move mountains and make things happen. But we have to want to. It has to be the will of everybody if you're going to literally move a mountain or prevent or delay, I suppose, something, because tectonics need to happen. It's part of the planet's lifestyle. It's part of its cycle. But you could put off that event and say, let us get better prepared. I truly believe we could do that if we put our minds to it. But it starts with you. It starts with the individual learning how to take command of raising the X-Wing fighter out of the Dagobah swamp. I know we make a lot of Star Wars references, but really George was onto something when he patterned that Force thing in those 3 movies, especially because it's so true. There's such a validity to that in so many ways. So just something to think about that I'd written down some time ago about how to visualize an initial abstract to start pulling yourself up by the proverbial bootstraps and fixing that energy, writing it with that level surface that's always there, that is the constant, that is you exist. That's another thing. You and I were talking about the guy that channels Bashar before we started, Daryl Anka. And I know it's a total eye roller for most. It's like, this is crazy, this guy. We should talk about him sometime. But that's one of the things I know that he's told to people in his audiences before while channeling Bashar. And they come up and they're upset about this, that, or the other. Something in their life isn't going right. And Bashar is supposed to now give personal, living advice and he does too, but it's always so perfect. He just says, you exist. Like that's usually where the grounding point comes in, is you exist and you don't understand just how important that is, how miraculous that is, until you've glimpsed non-existence. And I feel like I was shown a shadow of a microsecond, of a nanosecond. It's not what's waiting for us under the bed. It's not even what we may create. It's non-existence. And so I loved that he goes there. So that thread of existence that's in everything is our grounding wire to say, me being allowed to be me, or having the ability to be this thing I call me at all in this space, even if I'm a cockroach, or if I'm just a dark shadow in the closet, even if I'm almost just empty space, that exists. And that's the miracle. So find that as your grounding point and then work up from there. It's hard being human. You're a complex mechanism, spiritually, physically, mentally. But you do this every day, and you do it by choice. And so there's nothing wrong with making the choice to do it with a higher vibration.
Run that marathon, Rocky.
Rocky?
I don't know. Doesn't this kind of sound like the, what was the name of that song that was in Rocky?
The one by Robert Tepper?
Yeah.
I think it sounded that triumphant. You think everything I listen to sounds like Rocky music.
Oh, Jack, how much fun do we have together? And I guess that's why we do this, isn't it?
That's right. And that's why we're doing it again soon.
All right. Until we meet again.
Adieu.
More than your heart can be crushed.
Well, it looks like Jack and Michael have finished up their latest chat about all things existence. But if anything they said got your own existence brewing, be sure and catch their other talks at existencebrewing.com and drop them an email to share your thoughts using contact@existencebrewing.com.
Existence Brewing.